Welcome to the BXG podcast, the podcast where pop culture and nerd culture meet at the nexus of the universe and are melded as seamlessly as the Flag Smashers and Doctors Without Borders. I am one of your hosts, Brenton Beswick, alongside my co-host, Bradley Cooper's shitty little brother, Greg Filson. Greg, how are you?
I'm all right. I'm a little shook. I took 2 tests today for an unnamed project going forward that were very difficult. Maybe 2 of the toughest tests I've ever had in my life. Yeah, so that's where I'm at. I'm still coming off that. Did both of them today. They weren't that long of a test, but they were not fun. So I'm still kind of reeling. But I did make myself some pizza beforehand to pump myself back up, and it was good. So I'm ready to rock and roll. How are you, Brenton?
Well, I have a torn meniscus for jumping because I jumped and I'm fat. I'm just going to boil it down to that. No frills.
Why are you jumping?
I jumped and I'm fat, and I heard a crunch, and I tried to deal with it, and it hurt for too long, so I went to the doctor, and they said, oh, you're going to need an MRI and probably get you a knee scope here. So,
jeez.
And my furnace needed fixed in the middle of the night, and we had to call the fire department at 2:30 in the morning. And woke everybody up. So I'm running on fumes.
That sucks.
And my leg hurts. My knee hurts. My kids think I have a broken knee. It's just a mess. But other than that, I'm great.
Other than that, well, that's good.
Other than all that. Let's see here. Housekeeping. BXG podcast publishes every Friday at 7 a.m. on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, and other podcast services around the globe. Official BXG social media accounts on Facebook, facebook.com/BXG Podcast, Instagram @BXG Podcast, @GTFills, @Y2B, and Twitter @BXG Podcast, plus youtube.com/BXG Podcast, where we did put the video for the Snyder Cut review. It's about 50 minutes, so it's a long one, but it can be seen over there if you want to get the video take on that. It's just basically a rough, unedited version of the audio. So if you listen to the audio and you don't feel like you need just our gesticulating,
Yes,
then you can skip that. But otherwise, if you want to check out, or maybe if you just want that part, or if you want to relive the magic that was the Snyder Cut review, you can head over there where all our reviews are. Cherry, Coming to America, Tom and Jerry, Lady Gaga, Oreos, which is our most viewed
not shocking
video. Today we released the March BXG episode, the 90s appreciation episode that featured our friend Dallas of the Outrospective podcast, where we have both been guests.
It's genius or absolute stupidity.
It's something.
Yeah, but it's one or the other.
Well, as Captain Jack Sparrow once said, it's remarkable how often those two traits coincide. So I'm surprised with all the cameos we had. Chris Walken, Jeff Goldblum, Stone Cold E.T. that the Captain Jack didn't.
That is actually
up,
surprising.
But,
yeah,
he did. He spent the night on the sidelines. Social media scoreboard update: JJ Kish 2 points, EJT 1 point, Jared L 1 point apiece. But we had good participation on the pick your combatant King Kong versus Godzilla. So we're gonna get some points up on the board there. And of course, the winner of that competition come September will be invited on for their own short little segment. So that'll be fun, and people will keep up with that. Let's see here. Corrections, clarifications. We weren't 100% sure on the earnings for the 2017 Justice League theatrical release. It grossed $657.9 million worldwide at the box office against a $300 million budget, not including marketing. A Forbes article from 2017 estimates that when marketing was accounted for, the film lost anywhere between $50 and $100 million. So when we say it was a commercial flop, there's why. Also, we estimated that the movie was about 2.5 hours long, but in actuality it was only 2 hours long, but about an hour and 50 minutes with credits. So the Snyder Cut is, two of the original, basically. And then the other thing was I referred to the dragon eating its tail, but I couldn't remember what it was called. That was the Oribus. Oribus.
I don't know.
Well, that thing.
That thing.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird pronunciation. We have a 6-pack of topics tonight. We have quick hitters. We have a food review. We're going to do a little peep show.
Peep show for the kids.
A little peep show prior to the Easter weekend here. Do a little peep show with some fun peeps. So we will check that out later in the show. But we begin with number 1, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the Star-Spangled Man. As the episode kicks off, we formally meet John Walker and learn what kind of guy he is. John is essentially just a really good soldier put in the position of having to be the new Captain America. Bucky and Sam meet up for the first time in the show, and Bucky is pretty upset that Sam gave the shield back. They fly off to face a group of the Flag Smashers, and they get it handed to them and learn that the Flag Smashers are, in fact, juiced on super soldier serum. And they're getting worked over pretty good until old Johnny Walker, Blue Label, shows up with his wingman, Lamar Hoskins, a.k.a. Battlestar. After the fisticuffs, Sam and Bucky decline assistance from Walker and Hoskins, and Bucky tells Sam that there's someone he needs to meet and introduces him to Isaiah, an African-American Korean war vet who was also a super soldier. After Isaiah kicks Bucky and Sam out of his house, the Baltimore Police Department does a little bit of racial profiling on Mr. Sam Wilson until they realize who he is. Bucky gets arrested for missing his mandated therapy session, but John Walker bails him out of prison. Bucky and Sam are treated to a couples therapy session where we get some intense moments where both characters admit that they feel that they are not what Steve thought they were. They are who we thought they were. They decide to finish the mission and part ways. When the mission is complete, they again decline help from Walker and Hoskins, and Bucky says the only person who knows where they will be able to find more super soldier serum to help track down the Flag Smashers is Helmut Zemo. And we do get a glimpse of him at the end of the episode. So what did you think of the episode?
I really liked it. I think it was more of what kind of people were expecting with this show, with Bucky and Sam kind of interacting and having their little... I mean, it was like mostly funny interactions. I mean, the couples therapy session was pretty funny when they do like the stare down. It's like, are you doing a staring contest kind of thing? And... I think getting to see the new Captain America, I know people are like really angry about it. That's sort of a funny thing where it's like, this is actually still canon. Like this character actually exists in the comic books. And it's like, this is what happens. He's just trying to be, it's hard to live up to Captain America, which is what everybody is living up to in this episode is like, we're all trying to be, Steve Rogers, but you can't. I mean, that's like, this is the thing. This is like the idea of the show. And I really liked it. I'm excited to see where it's going. I mean, getting Helmet at the end is very cool. And I do kind of wonder, the thing that I was thinking about when we get, new Cap America is like, is he going to get the serum at some point? I mean, like, this is the whole reason why Captain America...
John Walker?
Yeah. I wonder if John, if this is somehow a thing or, there's a lot of different, the way the comic book goes, it could be one way or the other, but... I'm excited. Like I said, this is more, I think, what people were expecting, the banter. And these episodes are longer. They kind of feel like mini movies. The production is so cool in this, too. You do feel like you're kind of watching The Winter Soldier, that movie, the way that it feels. So, no, I really liked it. I like where it's going. I think it's only going to get better. Just like WandaVision did. It starts out a little slow, maybe, but then picks up from there. What'd you think?
I thought some of the banter seemed forced. Like it was maybe a little bit too... like buddy cop, like cheesy. I mean, I definitely think they are going to have the back and forth. The other thing was I really wish they hadn't have shown the therapy session in the previews, and also the scene where Bucky says that he read The Hobbit when it was released in 1937, and Doctor Strange is a sorcerer that's just a wizard without a hat. Like that whole thing. I wish they hadn't shown any of that because I think those would have landed better. Because it was just like, oh man, that's funny, but I've already seen it. The girl the little ginger girl that reminds me of Delonte
She's in
West.
Star Wars.
Which is a Yeah, she was in Solo. I don't really care for her.
Okay.
I think that's just fully on the basis that she reminds me of Delonte West.
Sure.
Like she looks like she could be Delonte West's little sister.
really does.
And I know that's a deep cut for anybody who wasn't a 2008, 2009 Cleveland Cavaliers fan.
Well, if you like Temple basketball too.
That's probably an even deeper cut if we're being real. But anyway, I don't know so much about her. And then the other thing too was I felt like they took the time in the first episode to really like beef up the whole story about Sam going home and he's got to fix the family and he can't get a loan, and we learn that Avengers aren't paid basically, and the whole struggle of like, you know, you haven't had an income for the last 5 years. Well, I wasn't a person for the last 5 years. Like they played with all that in the first episode, and it seems like they're just going to completely discard that. You know what I mean? I'm sure at some point it'll come back around. This is it's a 6-episode series, and each episode is like 45 minutes or whatever. So there'll be time for closure for that. It just seemed like kind of rushed that they went away from that so quickly. I like that John Walker, like on the surface, seems like he is like a good guy. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like he just seems like a guy. You know what I mean? He seems like he's just a guy trying to do the best that he can do. He's not trying to be Steve. He's just trying to be the symbol or whatever. But the reality of it is like you said, he doesn't have super soldier serum, at least at this point. So when he's up against these guys, he's getting his ass kicked too. And really the only person that does in this equation is Bucky. Yeah. Because Sam's just a guy too. Right. You know what I mean? He's just a dude with a suit. And so I think that's kind of, we'll see. I mean, he's kind of a prick at the end where he's like, well, you don't want to work with us, stay the hell out of my way. And that's kind of like, I do think that they're probably ultimately going to work together. And that's like the thing is like, or, you know, based on the trailers, because we do see Sam with the shield, is he going to, do you think John Walker dies?
I think something
like,
happens.
Do you think he gets killed? No. Or he gets just beat up to the point where there's just no other options?
Maybe he gives up the shield or something. Maybe he just can't. There might be something like that. Or, you know, there might be a turn, like a heel turn.
Yeah,
you know, because he is presented as like such a good guy, and then like he gets over there and he's like, oh, well, I can be part of these like super soldiers. Maybe I should do this instead. And they're like, hey, that's not what Steve would do. And he's like, F Steve, you know. Whatever. Right. I'm not going to be him anyhow, so maybe that's where like he gets the shield. I
thought it was weird that Bucky got very upset when he found out that the other guy's name was Battlestar. Like, was that Bucky's code name too, or something that I'm not aware? Because I know on the original Winter Soldier arm he had like the star on his arm, so I don't know if like that was like Bucky's original call sign or whatever. But I felt like that was kind of weird, where he was like, "Oh, what's your name?" Battlestar, and then he's just like storms off. Yeah. There's been a lot of hilarious Bucky memes.
Oh, sure.
About just like his facial expressions throughout the show.
I mean, it's always been a thing with Bucky in all the movies. Like, he does these things, but now since he's a main character, like, you really pay attention to it more. Like the staring and stuff, which they just point out, which is like, you're staring again, which is just funny.
Yeah.
And,
does he always just stare like that?
Oh, you're doing the staring thing again. Yeah, that's what he does.
Yeah, the therapy session was kind of neat. I kind of see what they were doing by going to Isaiah's house and showing that, you know, there was a super soldier and he was black. He was basically Black Captain America. I think that's what he was in the comics. Yeah. And, you know, the whole scene where they get into a verbal altercation outside the house and the police come to Bucky's aid and they're like, is he bothering you? Like, I get what they're kind of driving at there, but at the same time, unless they kind of circle back to that character, I think that was kind of a waste of time.
I feel like they will. I feel like he might reach back out. Like, he'll realize, like, oh, maybe I need to help out in some way. Because in the like, he is Black Captain America. I think there's a thing where, like, Steve gets injured, and so he takes over being a super soldier and becomes Black Captain America. But a lot of bad things happen to him after that, like, because of all these things in the era. Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, yeah, and he said, like, he got thrown in jail and experimented on and all this. I like the kid on the sidewalk who calls Sam Black Falcon. Yeah. It's like, He's like, are you just calling me that because I'm black? Does that make you a black kid? So that was funny. Like there was some moments that were like pretty funny, but I thought like when they were in the warehouse getting ready to fight or getting ready to follow the Flag Smashers, and they were having like the back and forth, I just kind of felt like a lot of that was like a little bit too cheesy. Like I get that that's what Marvel is, and they have that sort of like forced campiness, or maybe even to a certain extent like the forced corniness. But that was just maybe a bridge too far for me.
I feel like it's going to even out. I think like you're right with the first episode, you get like the background, and in this episode it's like giving the people what they want, you know? And so it's like now it wouldn't shock me if like the third episode is kind of a mix of everything. They kind of just want to give you that background very quickly, because like it's only 6 episodes. So there's only, it's like about 45 minutes each episode roughly. Yeah. And so it wouldn't shock me if like they wanted to kind of rush this in there in a sense, so that the last 4 episodes they can kind of make it more of like a real series, a real show of what's going to happen. And we don't know, this might just be season 1. I mean, we don't know if this is just, one season, or because they don't mention any of this stuff with this.
What do you think about the Flag Smashers as what appears to be the primary adversary, at least at this juncture? Just about their goals and kind of what they're about. It seems like they, to sum up what was said sort of in the first episode, they liked things in the first, during the blip, when it seemed like, society kind of caved in and there was no governments and there were no borders and things like that. And they're trying to bring it back to that. What do you think about them as like an adversarial group?
I think it's a very good like Captain America storyline. What like the comic books would be more about, because when it was just like Captain America in the comic books, there's no aliens, there's no androids, and there's no
no big three.
Yeah, it is more ground related, because I mean, like, Captain America is a very strong character, but he's the strongest human. He's nothing compared to anything in space. So that's who he could face. And so to me, this is kind of just, it's paying homage to Captain America without actual Steve in the picture. These are the kind of characters that he would go up against. Flag Smashers is like perfect. I mean, because he is the flag, in a sense, even though he really isn't in a lot of the sense too for the comic books and the movies. So I think it is actually, it'd be nice to have, of course it would be nice to have Chris Evans in a TV show doing Captain America, but this would have been kind of a cool storyline, in a Captain America movie, just Captain America, not, not even Iron Man involved, nothing like that. But no, I actually really like it. I think it really is a good idea of the way to make a Captain America storyline. And like I said, this show has like a Winter Soldier vibe to it to me, not just because Bucky's in it, but just the way they film it, the way it's like espionage, and you're not, guys don't actually fly around. You can jump out of a plane and survive, but you're not flying around and stuff like that. So no, I do like that.
I think that that's kind of interesting, and I do kind of like that we get a look into, what it was kind of like when half the population was gone. Mm-hmm. And now that these people are back, they're talking about like refugee camps and things like that, and due to overcrowding or whatever. So I think that kind of getting into like the geopolitical stuff of what things were like during the blip is kind of interesting. But like I said, I'm not a big fan of Delonte West, girl. I don't have any tangible reason other than that's what she reminds me of, like I said. But I mean, we'll see. I think ultimately I think that they are almost a little bit of a red herring as far as the bad guy goes. I think that Zemo is the main bad guy. I mean, that's what he's been kind of billed as. And it seems like they're kind of building towards he's going to have to help them, and he's going to go along with it and then stab him in the back. I'm just making predictions. I don't know if that's like a tangible thing or not, but it certainly seems maybe like that's the direction that they're building towards, and that the Flag Smashers are just sort of almost even like a bit of an ancillary bad guy. But I wouldn't be surprised. The other thing is I wouldn't necessarily even be surprised if Zemo was pulling the strings and was their leader, because there was the character that got she got the text of like, I'm going to find you and I'm going to kill you, or whatever it said, You know what I mean? So I think there are bigger powers at play. This isn't. I don't think there's going to be fan theories on the level of WandaVision where it was like, the dog is Mephisto and all this. I don't think we're going to see that level, but I do think that we're going to see. I do think that there's going to be some big curveball at some point.
Do you think that there is a chance that John Walker ends up being the enemy? Like somehow Helmet, is like, hey.
Well, I definitely think they're going to fight.
Do you think
him.
there's a thing where he's like, hey, I can hook you up and I can make you like Steve, and then he gets the serum and he's like, oh, you know what? I don't need to be this face of, I'm better than Steve kind of thing. Like, because he has all the smarts, all this other stuff that he had beforehand, and then they end up having to like take control of him because he's gone rogue.
Yeah, that's a possibility. But either way, we'll see moving forward. I've enjoyed it so far. I mean, the action is Marvel-esque. Yeah. It's what you look for in the MCU. It's it seems like they showed a lot in the trailers. But I think it was probably they showed a lot of the
first episodes. We got the first 2 episodes. I think everything else has been probably not shown. I really do.
Right.
All right. So moving on.
But we'll see.
We'll see. And on to other things that are very similar to Steve Rogers. The challenge. Stand-up characters here. In this week's episode, we see the forces of gravity at work in many facets. During the daily challenge, contestants skydive and are asked to spot a color puzzle and then replicate it on a puzzle board. Leroy and Casey win their 4th daily contest. Big T has to be brave, as usual, but manages to conquer her fear before she is...
I have to be brave.
I like how she didn't have her weave in. I like that.
No.
I was a fan. Well. She was berated by CT for not running hard enough in the ground portion of the challenge. That was rough. All signs point to an elimination challenge of Big T versus Anissa, but not before Fessy decides to waken a sleeping monster. He's so stupid. He's the dumbest person. Anyhow, in their party dome at their 80s theme party, Fessy decides to pay CT a compliment by telling him he's washed up, and then if he run a final against each other, it's a wrap. Yeah, he's right. It would be a wrap. I'll say that. Things get serious when CT removes his wig and lets Fessy know he's not dead yet. As Leroy put it, what Fessy doesn't understand is A, CT will kick his ass. B, he doesn't understand what kind of player CT is in this game. And C, CT will kick his ass. Mood killed and party over, we head to the crater where Big T must face Anissa in the Operation Fire Escape Elimination Challenge, where competitors must shimmy back and forth across a pole. Anissa isn't just facing Big T, but also her greatest rival, the forces of gravity. Big T figures out the rhythm and completes the elimination before Anissa manages to get started. She then decides to keep CT, which means Amber B gets matched up with Kyle. TJ alludes that the challengers have not made the final yet, and previews show we may have at least one more elimination week left. What do you think, Brenton?
I don't understand. I was more upset in the moment. I've simmered since. I was very upset in the moment of watching this episode. I don't understand how Fessy, who's been in 2 seasons now, and he's beaten Nelson in a hall brawl, which is the size comparison there is basically me to you, right? Yeah. And I know that you are a spry little fella, and I'm fat and have a torn meniscus. But a hall brawl is set up for somebody like me,
right?
To beat somebody like
I'm
you.
I'm sinewy, strong like Spider-Man, but this isn't like we're not doing like a push-up contest or a pull-up contest. It's literally brute force.
It's my mass against your mass. So beating Nelson, who is arguably a decent athlete, but beating Nelson in a hall brawl for Fessy is not exactly an accomplishment. His elimination win last year was in a pole wrestle against a one-armed man, Jordan.
Right.
So when it comes to the damage that Fessy has done on the elimination floor in the sand, I'm not overly impressed with his resume. Number 2, can we talk about the fact that he's talking all this nonsense about I can run, I can do math, I can do, this, that, and the other. He gassed out in the final last season, and he didn't just lose. It's not like he came in second. He lost to Corey and Kyle, too.
Right.
He came in dead last in the final. So to come in here and talking all this hot shit to, as we put it, one of the guys on the Mount Rushmore of the challenge, CT, who literally turned 7-time champion Johnny Bananas into his own backpack.
Yes.
In an elimination challenge.
Yep.
Is not probably the wisest move that he could have made.
It's one of those things.
There's just no reason.
No.
It's just you know what I mean. You don't piss into the wind and you don't tug on Superman's cape.
No, this is what it actually felt like. Like you just look at CT and like we joke around like how you and CT are like similar, but then it's just like CT just started like he's wearing like that tighter T-shirt, and then you realize like CT's still like very strong, idiot. Like what are you doing? Like he's strong. Fessy, there's nothing like you said. There's nothing to me that's proven that Fessy is good at this game.
Well, he spent like the first portion of the show before the Daily Challenge saying, "Oh, CT's coasting.
Yeah,
CT's coasting on reputation." It's like you're coasting on the fact that you're bigger than anybody and you played college football. But let's face facts. It's not like he played at Alabama. Right. He played at like Eastern Middle Tennessee, upside down, fuck your butt state. You know what I mean? It's not. You know what I mean? Like there's a reason this guy didn't get drafted.
Sure.
And God, I just don't. I just. It's just. And he played Big Brother, and I know that at one point on a prior episode, I looked up information about him on Big Brother, and he was literally known as the guy who didn't know what was going on.
Yeah,
it's
very like to me. What's funny though is like I've been rooting for CT this entire time, really, and now it's like it really feels like this is where the show's going, and like, Big T is what she is, but I mean, he can carry Bananas on his back. He'll have no problem throwing her on his back. She will literally just feel like a backpack. I mean, so if he has to do it, he'll do it.
Let's make sure we clarify this for listeners who may not be familiar with the challenge. There's nothing big about Big T.
No.
She's a small woman.
Very small.
120 pounds, maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but she's got to be brave.
You just have to be brave. I'm trying not to think about it, and you're telling me this. She's just like the whole. I mean, I'll tell you that challenge today though. That's a challenge, or today. The challenge we're talking about today. I was all about that. Jump out of a plane and run, and just memorize 9 things. Oh, I am crushing that. I was like so about it. But so we're gonna probably have another.
There's nothing. I couldn't have been brave. I don't do heights.
Right.
I just would have been like, all right, hey TJ,
out. I'm out on this one.
I'm a quitter.
I'm a quitter.
Call me out. What did you think about? Let me ask you this question. Do you think potentially that the producers sensing that it was going to be Big T and Anissa made it literally the only challenge that Big T could have beaten Anissa in? Do you think that there was a little bit of tomfoolery involved?
I always think there's tomfoolery involved in this show. So, I mean, sure. I think it's one of those things where, like, you want to make it interesting as much as you can. I think every single time it's like, oh, we have these two set up in something. Odds were so likely it was going to be those two that they could have probably guessed it, at this point.
Right, yeah,
so,
exactly.
Anissa, God bless her, but, someone...
That's the only challenge Big T could have won in. The only one.
Someone needs to tell Anissa that she's in, like, an athletic competition and to train a couple months in advance. Because it's rough. I mean, I'm not saying she needs to be, like, in Lolo Jones shape or anything, but she needs to get into some sort of athletic condition for this. It's like depressing to me that she literally doesn't seem to care about this at all when all she does is care about this. It's like, right. She doesn't have to train for like 2 years. She's not becoming a triathlete, but get yourself a little bit better condition. It's like actually made me angry watching this with her because it's just like, Anissa, this is not new to you. This might be new. You've been doing this for like half. She's been
on challenges since we were in high school.
That's insane. If somebody would have told me that I would be in a competition and like, oh, you're gonna be doing this, I'd be like, all right, I'm gonna crush this. This is literally what I'm gonna do.
How do you? What do I need to do to
Right?
prepare?
Yeah. Give me whatever I have to do. I'm gonna do it, especially if it's up for like $1 million. I'm gonna 100%.
Sure.
But whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
I still think CT's the favorite to win this thing, especially after this.
Well, let's break it down. Power rankings. We've got Leroy and Casey, Corey and Cam, Nani and Fessy, Big T, CT, and Kyle and Amber. I mean, 4 daily challenges. I mean, right now, I think if Leroy and Casey don't win, it's probably an upset. Like something horrible happened, or they had to swim a lot, which is a possibility. It is a final, and usually there's some swimming involved, and Leroy is not a strong swimmer. I think that they're very clearly the number one team. I think that.
I'm agreeing with. I'll disagree with you when I disagree with you. We'll do it that way.
I think Cam and Corey are number 2. I think CT and Big T are number 3. I would put Kyle and Amber in at number 4, simply because Amber seems like she's probably in a little bit better shape than Nani. And there's just something about Kyle, man. Like when nuclear winter happens, it's gonna be cockroaches and Kyle Christie. That's who's gonna be left.
Those teeth protect him from all things.
It's something, but he just survives. I don't readily understand it all the time, but
it is amazing.
He just is a survivor, and he is hilarious.
Oh, I like him.
There's no doubt that he's very, very funny in the confessionals. Yeah. And then I would put Fessy and Nani last, because I don't think that they have very good team chemistry. I don't think that Nani is. I think she's in the same boat as Anissa as far as like train a little bit. You know what I mean? Like she's not in any kind of great shape. She's in better shape than Anissa, but she's not in any kind of great shape. And I just think that Fessy is so overconfident that there's going to be some type of comeuppance for his arrogance throughout the season. You know what I mean? So that's where I stand with the double agent power.
I would say you and I are. I actually would probably flip, just because I have so much confidence in CT. I would probably flip 2 and 3, just because I have so much confidence in CT, especially after that confrontation today, where like he got like he was almost like on the verge of tears. He's like, someone called me washed up. Like, I've been doing this. Like, I know what I'm doing. Like, don't.
He won a final like in the last couple seasons.
Right. So he's
like 2 seasons ago. It was when it was the War of the Worlds or whatever, the Team UK versus Team USA, and he carried that team.
Yeah, and it wouldn't shock me if he did that again. You're right. Like, this is based purely on power rankings and who should. Leroy and they should win. Leroy, but.
And I've always liked Leroy, and he keeps saying that this is his last season, so I wouldn't mind seeing him win.
Yeah, I mean, it's someone's last season until they're actually, I don't know. We'll see. But I'm so intrigued by the show. I still really like it. They've kept enough of the like characters around that you care about, so the CT's a force, and that's fun, and yeah. I think these are the best teams that could be left in it. Too, like I think now that we're at this point, I think everybody that's here probably deserves to be here to some degree. Other than Wes, I mean, I always think but Wes just kind of got screwed.
Yeah, no heart in that.
Right, no heart.
Anyway, all right, let's see here. Number 3, we're gonna do a little breakdown. We don't do a lot of sports on the BXG, but as Greg and I are both big baseball fans and the baseball season is upon us, we're going to do a few predictions. We're going to do some award predictions. We're going to do some division winner wild card, league championship, and World Series. How about we do that?
Sounds good.
So do you want to do the team winners?
Yeah, let's do division winners first. You want to go NL or AL?
Before we get into the... let's go NL.
Okay. I gotta switch my bracket here. So we'll start with the National League East, which I think is actually like insane. Maybe the best division ever in baseball this year, like competitive wise, and who could actually win. I This is the one I struggled the most with. I'm gonna go with the Braves to actually win it, just because they were good, and I feel like they almost beat the Dodgers last year to win the pennant. So I'm gonna go with them, but I think the Mets are my leading wild card team for sure. And then, but I'm going to Atlanta to win the East. The Central, I don't think is actually going to be as competitive as a lot of people think. I think it's going to be the Cardinals. They have Nolan Arenado. They look really good this year. They were a bad offense. Now they're going to be a good offense. The rest of that division is pretty crap, including what I think will be the worst team. Maybe the worst team ever. That wouldn't shock me. I've seen some generous things where people think the Pirates can win 50 games. I don't think they're going to win 50 games. I don't think they're going to. I think they're a 42 win team this year. And that's maybe generous. They're terrible. There's not a single thing on that team there is one player on that team is worth caring about at all. We're not going to do a rookie of the year thing, but Ke'Bryan Hayes, he's it. He's going to be the third baseman. Yeah. He's the only good player on the team. They don't care that organization is crap and will forever be crap as far as I'm concerned. The National League West, it's also going to be a really fun division. I have the Dodgers winning. Just that team is insane. You add a Cy Young Award winner to who I think is going to be the Cy Young Award winner in that lineup going forward. Yeah, and if Kershaw's still, he's going to be the opening day starter. He's not the best pitcher in the starting five, but he's still really good. He had a really good last year. And the Padres are going to be awesome. The Padres and Mets are going to be wild card winners for sure. And yeah, that's my National League rankings.
Okay. I'm only going to make one change from that,
okay.
Which is the only thing that I'm going to change is I think the Padres are going to win the West, and the Dodgers are going to be the wild card.
Okay.
I think that there might be a little bit of, they know how good they are, and they can afford to rest some people, some extra games, almost like a LeBron-led team in basketball. Sure. You know what I mean? Like if LeBron's healthy come finals time, there's a high probability that his team is going to be in the finals. I mean, it happened 8 years in a row. Right. You know what I mean? Or 7 years in a row, however many it was. But I think that sort of thing, and I just think the Padres they're young and hungry. You know what I mean? And they added a lot of great pieces
awesome.
in the offseason.
They're an awesome team. Well. If the Dodgers weren't in that division, it would be like so close to it wouldn't even be close at all. Like every other team is so far behind them, I really think.
Yeah.
But
yeah. I also think the Mets are going to be the other wild. There's just two. Now, right? I think they did away with the whole participation trophy. Everybody gets.
It's weird this year. I think that's how they're doing it. Yeah.
All right, American League.
I think the American League is probably pretty easy this year to decide on. I get the Yankees winning the East. That lineup, rotation's good. The lineup is stupid. It really is. It's just homer after homer after homer. Blue Jays are really good. Tampa, obviously coming off World Series. But I still think it's the Yankees. It's the Yankees division to lose. That's tough. It's going to be tough keeping up with them. There's going to be games where they're honestly the thing is they have a good rotation, but they can also score 15 runs any given time. Yeah. That's what's going to be tough. The Central, I guess it has to be the White Sox. I mean, sounds weird. I just don't know where else I can go this year. Good rotation, nice lineup. They're young. So I'm going to go with the White Sox. It seems weird because I felt like they were so bad for so many years, but they seem like they're going to be good this year. And then the West, this seems crazy because Oakland's good and Houston's Houston, banging on trash cans. But this is where I think my predictions for a couple other awards come in. I think it's going to be the Angels. I think this is finally the year where the Angels come through, win the West, and, become an actual force.
Who's your wild card?
I'm going to go Houston, and I'm going to go Tampa.
All right. I'm gonna have some different ones here. Being more of an American League guy, I will say that the The Yankees are going to win the East. That's unchanged. I'm going to go with Toronto and Tampa. For the 2 wild cards. Toronto and Tampa. In the West, I'm gonna say the A's win because they're talented, and for whatever reason, those Oakland A's teams always overperform or outperform expectations. And in the Central, I'm gonna pick the Twinkies.
Okay.
I just think that the White Sox are too hyped, and I just don't think they're there yet. And I think that Jose Abreu is just gonna fall off a cliff.
That wouldn't
maybe
shock
that's
me.
just
It wouldn't shock me at all.
maybe that's wishful thinking. It might just be wishful thinking as an Indians fan, but I think that he's just going to completely fall off a cliff.
Of all our predictions, that might be the one that's like most accurate because it wouldn't shock me at all if he just completely he is sort of this flash in the pan kind of player.
Yeah, a couple good seasons. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I mean, hell, Chris Davis hit 55 home runs one year. You know what I mean? So that's not even getting into the Brady Andersons of the world. Who do you have? American League pennant, National League pennant.
I think this I think is wishful thinking. Even though it doesn't go against my actual prediction about no team repeating. I think it's going to be. It sounds so crazy. I'm not going to do it. I am going to do it. I'm going to go Angels Dodgers. The 405, baby. I'm going to go Angels Dodgers in the World Series. Okay. There's something about, this Angels team.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I hope Mike Trout gets to play in the postseason. I hope he does.
I think it's one of those things where, he finally gets in, and then they still have Ohtani. I mean, this team's pretty loaded, and their pitching's actually okay now. I think you get Trout in the postseason, he's probably going to put, he's going to be he's going to go 600, hit 15 homers. He's going to be so pumped to actually be in the postseason. He's like, I'm carrying this freaking team on my shoulders. That's the thing. The regular season, you can't win a regular season with one player, but you can sometimes in the postseason.
In the playoffs,
you can definitely do it.
Well,
and if there's one player in my
can.
lifetime, and this is the biggest Ken Griffey Jr. fan there is, this is the guy that... the broad shoulders of Mike Trout can carry a team to the World Series.
From a position player.
Yeah, position player. Yeah.
I mean, we've seen obviously Madison Bumgarner go berserk in the playoffs and carry the Giants to World Series.
Madison Bumgarner is the best postseason pitcher I'll ever see.
Yeah, I mean, hell, we even saw the Indians almost ride Andrew Miller to a World Series, and that's a relief.
Yeah, that was
pitcher.
crazy.
You know what I mean? So you definitely can if you have one guy that gets just irrationally hot, he can definitely carry you. For my World Series pick, for my AL pennant, I'm gonna pick the Yankees. I can't remember when was the last time they were in the series. It's been a while. It has
been a while, yeah.
I know the last time they won was.
I think that might have been the last time they were in the World Series.
Yeah, maybe because there was a pretty good run there where it was, the Red Sox. And I think the Rangers went after 2009 back to back. The Red Sox have been in there a few times. You had the Royals back to back. You had Cleveland, Tampa. Yeah, that's probably the last time they were in there. I'm gonna pick the Yankees to win the AL pennant. I'm gonna pick the Fathers. I'm gonna pick the San Diego Fathers to come out of the National League. I just think that they're all in.
Oh, they're 100% all in, and this is. As someone who roots for the Dodgers out here, of course. I mean, it's weird not to. And I will say, you visit Dodger Stadium, and you immediately just oh crap! This is when I first moved to LA, saw Vin Scully doing the games, and it was just and I could actually watch them when I lived in LA. You can't watch them on your local broadcast if you live outside of them, unless you live in Bakersfield, but because of the rights. But it's just one of those things where you sort of you fall in love with them without even trying, and. I get to see a lot of Mike Trout, which was fun. But, the Padres are awesome. They're a freaking incredible team.
See, because I think Tatis could do the same thing that you're saying with Trout. Sure. I think Fernando Tatis could carry them.
I mean, he's, probably the second or third best player in baseball right now.
Yeah. Who you got winning the series? Out of your,
I mean, I was talking against this, with our predictions, and I'm not gonna, if I'm wrong, if I'm wrong with this, I'm right with my predictions probably, but I'm going Dodgers again. I think this team is just so stacked, and this is
right.
I love this team. It's so much fun to watch. They look like they have a great time. It's like the Nationals that won the World Series, 2 years ago. Like it reminds me of that team where like it's so fun to see a team that actually like likes each other win. Because like those Yankees teams back in the late '90s were like that too, where they actually liked playing with each other, and and not every team actually looks like that all the time. Like they have fun because baseball is the. There's the thing about baseball when you're good at baseball and you're having fun. There's not a better sport to have fun at doing. Because when everybody hits, it's fun. When everybody, it's great. So this is how I feel about the Dodgers having Mookie Betts, who's going to be. I think the the NL MVP, and I think Walker Buehler is going to win the Cy Young too.
We'll get to that. World Series pick for me, I'm going Yankees over
Padres.
Yeah, Yankees over Padres. That's my pick.
All right.
I just think we're due for a Yankees World Series win. They've got a better rotation because like the thing is like they have like the top line, starters. But can you imagine it like they have Cole and they have Severino, right? They're both dynamite. Can you imagine if Corey Kluber recaptures any of the magic that he had?
And he probably will because he won't have to be the number one guy. So he doesn't have to even think like that. He won't have to think about being number one or number two even,
I don't really think that that's anything that he ever really thought
Maybe
about.
not, but it's still just one of those things where like now it's not like the headlines aren't him like ace, starting today. He's not the ace. He's not even close to the ace.
I don't know if you knew this. He pitched in Cleveland.
That's true.
There were no headlines. The headlines were LeBron James.
That's true.
Pitches today. That's what the headlines were.
When you're baseball people like us though, you do like you have your own mental headlines. Like, man, Kluber just hit 12 strikeouts, 97 pitches. He pitched the Maddox game,
Right. But yeah, I mean, these guys that they kind of brought in and it was like, well, if they give us anything, you know what I mean? They're like, oh, man, Corey Kluber's two-time Cy Young winner. Like, that's no joke. Like, he's got one of the filthiest sliders in the history of baseball. It's not – this guy's no slouch. And if he's at all healthy, and basically he's had 2 years off, I bet you his velocity's down. But as long as he still has that movement, you know what I mean? You can get by. I mean, look at Greg Maddux. You talked about it in the 90s episode. The dude threw like 90. Yep. It just, nothing was straight.
No. If the ball moves, it's tough to hit.
Yeah. All right. AL, NL, Cy Young.
So I said NL Cy Young's Walker Buehler. I think this is his year. I mean, the guy has all the stuff. And he is actually the Dodgers ace, even though they have 2 other Cy Young Award winners on the team. So I'm going Walker Buehler, and then Garrett Cole. He's so good. And when you're a Pirates fan, you like realize all these pitchers we've lost, and you're just like, I mean, he never wanted to be there because why would anyone want to be there? I'm not there. Right. But it's just he's a beast, and he's the best pitcher. He's the best pitcher on the best team in the American League. So
yeah, I'm gonna go with Cole also. I think that as good as Shane Bieber was last season, he spent a lot of time beating up on crappy competition with that bizarre schedule that they had. I mean, he faced the Tigers, the Pirates.
Right.
He's good. He's
yes.
good. He's Cy Young caliber good, but I don't know if he was like historically good like he was last season. And it was a weird season anyway. But I'm going to go with Cole for a lot of the same reasons. I mean, he showed out in the playoffs against the Indians. You know what I mean? Bieber got blown up and Cole pitched lights out. NL, I'm going to go with it's probably a cop-out just because it is, but I'm going to go with DeGrom.
I mean, he's going to be in this running until he's just done. He's incredible. Yeah.
Right. So I'm going to pick him. MVP, most valuable player, American League.
I'm going Mike Trout.
National League.
Until he isn't.
If he's healthy, he's the best player.
There's just it. That's he's the best player I've seen in my life and probably will ever see because he is absolutely incredible. And yeah, if he's healthy, he wins this thing, and it's not even close, generally speaking. And he should have like seven MVPs. And then Mookie Betts is who I have winning the NL full season of Mookie. Mike Trout's the best player in baseball. Mookie Betts is the most exciting player to me, and he's right up there with Fernando Tatis. Tatis is fun to watch too.
I'm gonna go, and this is Trout's such an easy pick.
He is.
You know? So I think that I'm gonna say Trout too, but I'm gonna throw a little asterisk in there, and that is if the Indians threaten the playoffs at all, it will be because Jose Ramirez lost his mind. Yes. And, everybody talks about Francisco Lindor. Oh, we lost Francisco Lindor. They traded Francisco Lindor. Jose Ramirez has been the better ball player over the past 4 years. He's finished in the top 3 in MVP voting 3 out of the last 4 seasons. And Lindor's never finished in the top 3. Jose can play third. Jose can play short. Jose can play second. Jose can play in the outfield. Jose Ramirez is a better baseball player than Francisco Lindor, which is why I'm picking Francisco Lindor as the National League MVP. I just think that I feel like Frankie's probably, as much fun as he had in Cleveland, I just think, the bright lights of New York he's just going to show. He's going to show out. I think he's going to hit 290. I think he's going to hit 35 home runs. I think he's going to drive in over 100. He's going to steal probably 30 bases, and he's going to play the best defensive shortstop on the planet. And I think that being in New York will then propel him to
it won't hurt him
to
that
award. No, yeah. So.
Bi-coastal.
And that's the thing too is I feel like kind of hurt Ramirez in those seasons was that probably even though they were down ballot votes, Lindor was probably cannibalizing his votes a little bit on some of those really good teams. The 22 straight season, in whatever year that was, 2017. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's that.
It's fun.
So
and just to say, when we talk about baseball is the nerdiest sport. So, people want to go on, like, this is literally, this is where you get the biggest stat nerds that there are.
Yeah, I'll probably timestamp this just because people will want to skip it.
Sure.
But,
if it's not for you, it's not for you. But, it is the nerdiest sport. All right, so we'll move on, and we have like an abbreviated movie news roundup. I think what I'll do is hit the points, and then we can go back and talk about it if we want to, if there's anything we need to actually go further with. Of course, Disney reconfigured release dates. This isn't shocking. We said this since we started this show that Disney's going to have to do things differently, and they are. Of that, I guess I was kind of hit anything like shock you at all with the new release dates or.
No, I just want to hit on them. Yeah. I have them pulled up here. Cruella is going to be a in theater and also premiere access Disney Plus May 28th. Luca, which is going to be coming to Disney Plus. I'm sorry, June 18th. Black Widow we covered in theaters and premiere access July 9th. Free Guy, August 13th. Shang-Chi, September 3rd. The King's Man, December 22nd. Deep Water, January 14th. Death on the Nile, January 14th, 2022 for Deep Water. Death on the Nile, February 11th, 2022. I think Spider-Man got maybe bumped a little bit. Maybe it didn't. It's not on my list, which is it's straight from IGN.
Yeah.
So.
This, like I said, this isn't anything new. And this is, I think now, though, things are going to be more set now that, vaccines and stuff rolling. I don't think anything's going to change now going forward. I think we're pretty much.
No, I think this is probably, this is the schedule.
This is the set in stone. John Wick director at the helm, Ghost of Tsushima film adaptation for PlayStation Studios. I love the John Wick movies.
Yeah.
I love them. They're amazing. They're so fun and just crazy. So knowing this game to some degree, I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a lot of fun too.
I think this has the potential to be really good.
Sure. Yeah.
Actually, because the game itself is so heavily inspired by those old samurai flicks that I think it's going to lend itself maybe a little bit better than some of the other stuff like Tom Holland's Uncharted.
Have you seen the John Wick movies?
No,
oh, that's
talked
right.
about
Yeah,
this.
you haven't. No,
I haven't seen any of them.
I mean, I don't know if you just they're all really good.
I don't really like Keanu.
Right.
Thing.
I mean, it is sort of Keanu. It's very silent Keanu, but I think you would like the action. Recommend it if you just put it on for 15, 20, just to catch how the direction is in these movies. Because the director used to be a stunt guy, if you didn't know that. So he's really into that kind of stuff. So I think just for you to get a feel for that would be cool. James Gunn's Suicide trailer came. And Suicide Squad, sorry. Suicide. I knew what I was saying too.
Yeah.
James Gunn Suicide Squad trailer came, and 12 character posters have been revealed. I watched the trailer.
Dude, King Shark looks bad. King Shark looks bad. Like he looks like a Disney movie. Like he looks
Super
like Maui
weird.
in Moana. Sharkhead.
I mean,
and he's voiced by Sly Stone.
I like James Gunn, obviously for what he's done, but Guardians. I just trying to push Suicide Squad on people is just kind of weird to me. Like, it's a part of the.
Yep. Here's the thing, though, is that if anybody can do it,
it's probably him. This is the thing. It's like if they decide, or not if, when they do a final four, a Fantastic Four. That's got to be the last ditch effort. This is you're going to get the best people for Marvel. This is the best person you can get for this thing. And if you can't do it with James Gunn, then you're just going to bow out with that being a thing you try to do anymore. You can keep bringing Superman and Batman back, but you can't do the Suicide Squad. This is the last ditch effort here. This is fun. Pierce Brosnan joins the cast of Black Adam starring The Rock. Additionally, Dwayne Johnson has requested that any shared DCEU films he appears in, he receives top billing. Well, he would anyhow. I mean, I don't...
Well, that's to say if they do something where it's like a big team up. It's not like if Black Adam makes a random appearance in Shazam or Aquaman. Sure. Like those actors are still going to get top billing. Jason Momoa or whatever. But if there's a big thing that The Rock's going to be the big name. He referred to himself as franchise Viagra.
He did. But who's more famous than The Rock that would be in any of these movies? You know what I mean? He should always receive.
Yeah, sure.
He's The Rock. I mean, he's a super famous person. Yeah. The characters may not be as famous, but it's still a Rock. Right.
But
he's the most famous person.
He's The Rock.
Mortal Kombat looks to push the limits of its R rating without becoming unreleasable. This movie looks crazy. Holy smokes.
It got bumped back by a week. It looks nuts.
I think it's going to be
but they've said that
good, though. I think it...
They said the fight thing... Yeah, they said the fights, they want to make them as true to the games as possible.
Down.
So, yeah, we're going to review it. It's an HBO Max thing. But like I said, it got bumped to end of April.
Restore the Snyderverse now has the Hollywood-related highest trend count in Twitter history with more than 1.5 million hashtags. On the negative side, this Godzilla vs. King Kong is getting reviewed bombed by Snyderverse truthers. Well...
Yeah, that's what we're going to be referring to them as now on. Snyderverse
I like that.
truthers.
I like that.
Yeah, coin that. Copyright it.
Ding!
I'm not cool with review bombing. No. I think that's really, really stupid. That's really reductive.
It's lazy.
But I'm all for restore the Snyderverse. I'm definitely for it, but let's try to keep it positive. That's what made the Snyder Cut happen, was people were being positive and about wanting to see Zack's vision, and they were able to get it. But if they're going to be pricks about it, I can guarantee you that they won't.
Exactly. Don't be pricks.
Speaking of this, I mentioned that we were going to have our own hashtag. I forget what we were. I think it was in last week's episode, and I said I'll get back to that, and then I never did. So I'm pissed off about the whole Pepe Le Pew thing.
I am too,
because it's just stupid that his scene got cut in a scene in which he's being told, don't do that. You can't treat women like that, which is true. You can't treat women like that. And so maybe this is something that needs to be seen.
It's the whole idea of it, is just,
Hashtag release the Pepe cut.
Oh, release the Pepe.
Yeah, release the Pepe cut. That's what our hashtag's going to be.
I love it.
So that's kind of the movie roundup. There was a lot of news. I just figured we could just throw it all into one topic like that. That would be the best way to cover that. Number 5, Lil Nas X is in the news, and not because of his newly released song Montero, Call Me By Your Name. The Old Town Road singer collaborated with MSCHF Product Studio Inc. and released the, quote, Satan shoes. The modified black and red Nike Air Max 97 sneakers, adorned with a bronze pentagram charm and a drop of human blood in the midsole, are the latest customized Nike footwear product to be released by that company. The company also released too many letters. Also released a pair of custom-made, quote, Jesus shoes in 2019. Nike is suing that company and asked the court to order that they permanently stop fulfilling orders for the unauthorized Lil Nas X Satan shoes. The lawsuit notes that social media users have threatened to boycott Nike over the controversial shoes. All 666 shoes sold out instantly. The complaint adds MSCHF and its unauthorized Satan shoes are likely to cause confusion and dilution and create an erroneous association between their products and Nike. Sportswear company says in its complaint, in the short time since the announcement of the Satan shoes, Nike has suffered significant harm to its goodwill, including among consumers who believe that Nike is endorsing Satanism, end quote. This comes from CNN.
I really wanted to get this in there because it's just silly to me. Nike's worried about this billion dollar corporation and is worried about like 666 shoes selling out that are, the whole idea is with his new song, he has like this, it's a very weird music video, and it's basically a lot of people are mad at him. They're saying he's what's wrong with America because he is a gay rapper, and this is literally the reason.
Right.
And so I think
that makes sense. That's
what's wrong with America. So he's just basically coming back at people and doing these things. And, here's a little fun fact about people altering shoes. That's a thing that people do in this world. There is one company in LA that does this all the time with Jordans. And Nike just doesn't care about this little company because they don't have any other affiliation there, and they make like 10 different shoes you can buy, and they're like $1,200 to like $1,500. I have not bought these shoes. I actually don't like when you alter Jordans. I just like Jordans as they are. But to me, it was just kind of one of those funny things where like it's literally like the response that's happening is exactly what Lil Nas X was trying to prove. He's basically like, oh, so my idea of all this stuff and you thinking I'm wrong with society, even though I'm like, this is all tongue in cheek. He's not any of these things, but like, here, I'm going to do all this because you think I am.
Anytime you create a controversy like this, it makes that product more desirable. Mm-hmm. So by Nike filing a lawsuit and saying, we want to make sure that nobody knows, like we're not associated with them and they don't have anything to do with us and this and that, is just creating a controversy that is then drawing attention to the situation and making people more interested in it. You know what I mean? I'm going to give you a perfect example. This comes from the video game world. There's a game called Kingdom Come Deliverance. Okay. It's set in 900 AD Bohemia. This game received heavy criticism from the liberal games media outlets because it didn't contain any black people.
Oh my goodness.
Now, all I know is I went to school to be a history teacher, so I know a few things about history. And I'm pretty sure if someone has me wrong on this, that knows more about this than I do, that there probably weren't many black people running around in 900 Bohemia.
Probably not.
Well, what happened was this game that was average at best got all this attention because of this bullshit. Sure. And they ended up selling over 3 million copies of their games and then 1.5 million copies of the DLC for it. They never would have done close to that if it wasn't for this. If it wasn't for all the attention. This is one of those things where it's like there's no such thing as bad press, right? When you have this there's 666 pairs of shoes.
Yeah.
and they're worried about this. I mean, the human blood thing's kind of weird.
I don't think that might not even be real. That might just be like a thing. But
yeah, whatever. But it's just when you draw attention to things for no reason, it just, and like you said, this is $1 billion corporation, and they're worried about these ads and these unauthorized shoes, and you're just creating more press for this, and it's just going to be, what it's going to do is, if you bought these shoes and you paid X amount of dollars for them, you're going to be able to turn around and sell them for
easy. These are going to be
because
worth
the demand for these
$1,000s.
things is
These
going
are
to
worth
be
thousands.
yeah, they're going to
I wish I would have got on it.
Skyrocket.
I'm not an Air Max 97 guy. But I wish I would have bought them just to resell them.
I'm more of a when it comes to like collecting nice shoes, I'm more of a Chuck Taylor.
Sure. Chuck Taylors are cool.
Little Converse. I got all the I have a bunch of DC comics Chuck Taylors. I don't know if you've ever seen those.
So. I'm just a Jordan. I'm just a Jordan guy through and through.
Yeah, I'll send you some. I'll send you some of the Chuck Taylors. I have like Batman and Joker,
That's awesome.
Superman, Chuck Taylors. So
shoe collecting's cool, and anytime they can, put them out today. Like today, someone commented on my Carmine Jordan, so I was stoked. Made me happy. I like shoe collecting.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I already have enough expensive hobbies that I don't need another one. Because I was talking to you today about how I wouldn't mind going back online and trying to find like a bunch of old Ninja Turtle toys and stuff like that. I was like, man, I have too many expensive hobbies to begin with.
Same.
So not at this time.
All right. So in not necessarily news people want to hear from this character, but George R.R. Martin signs a 5-year exclusive development deal with HBO and HBO Max. So just not
finish the fucking novels.
Anything but that, Britton. Anything but that.
Just for the love of God, he's been working on The Winds of Winter for 20 years. Finish the goddamn
he's the
books.
Ultimate troll. It's so funny. He's trolling everyone.
Have you read these?
I haven't. I watched the entire series, but I didn't want to read the books.
Well, there's a lot of the deeper they get into it, there's a lot of changes.
Oh yeah, I know. Like I know there's a lot of changes because I would read like the differences, major differences and stuff.
The books are superior in every way. The 5th book, which was The Dance with Dragons, released 2011. He's literally been working on the 6th book for a fucking decade.
Yep.
And like,
this is what these authors do.
I don't know if
Patrick Rothfuss is doing the same thing with people.
Tom Clancy's dead. Tom Clancy's literally dead and produces more books than George Martin.
See,
Michael Crichton is deceased, and he puts out more books than George Martin.
This is all facts.
I shouldn't say that because George Martin puts out books. They're just not the books that anybody wants him to put out. Everybody wants one book, George.
Yeah, just do it.
So sit down, strap your suspenders up, and just finish the goddamn book.
Yeah. Just finish the book. Just for my own sake, working in a bookstore, so I don't have people calling me every 2 months.
Seriously, I couldn't imagine.
It's ridiculous.
Well, first of all, they shouldn't ever have to call you for a book that has not been finished yet because there's this thing called Google.
It's amazing, though. People don't realize that exists.
I'm telling you.
It's insane. Here we go. Star of the show time.
Okay. Yeah. So we're going to do the Peep show. We're going to do Peeps. It is the week before Easter.
Happy Easter. Hoppy Easter. Hoppy Easter, everyone.
This will release on Good Friday, which is a complete misnomer, but that's a completely different topic in and of itself. So originally I found the sour watermelon Peeps, and I asked you if you could find
And
those.
last year I had no trouble. I would have had no trouble last year. They were everywhere. This year, couldn't find them. Went to, I think, 5 different places, actually. 5 different.
So what we decided on was you're going to do your own flavor, and I'm going to do my own flavor.
I'm excited.
So
this is going to be really
I have the sour watermelon. Which I'm just going to tell you right now is as close to watermelon sugar as I'm ever going to get.
Watermelon sugar. Watermelon sugar.
So, and you have...
I have hot tamales. Hot tamales. One of my favorite candies, so I'm liking this collab. I had an experience in college where we hosted like a night of like a casino night, and so like the winnings were candy, and there we bought way too much candy because that's what you do when you're like hosting a thing or like the newspaper / radio. And I think I ate 70 Peeps that night, and I don't know if I've had a Peep since.
I'm going to tell you, these smell great. These smell very watermelony.
These smell like hot tamales. I mean, it's cinnamon. I'm excited. So, do you want me to go first, or you to go first?
Yeah, why don't you go first?
All right. So, I mean, it's just pink. It's a pink Peep. It's pink. It's a Peep. There's not a lot else to say. I'm going to dig on in. Here we go. One bite, everybody knows the rules. Peep style.
We're going to come up with a better catchphrase than that. Because isn't that somebody else's catchphrase?
It is.
Yeah.
I might have to do a second one.
That's not one bite. Maybe it should be...
That's part of the stick. But,
yeah, maybe ours should be like 2 bites, screw the rules.
2 bites, screw the rules. It tastes like hot tamales. It is, it's not as spicy as I wanted it to be a little fiery, even on the back end.
It's like a fireball.
Like, I don't know if I need to, like, yeah, it's like a fire. I'm like, I got the powder going here. Get it in my gums. I'm not really doing anything. It's sort of cinnamon. I will say I'm a little disappointed in this. It also says fierce cinnamon, so it's not as fierce as I was hoping. For my expectations on this being one of my favorite flavors, and I like Peeps. I actually love Peeps. I think it's great candy. This is bad in the sense of my expectations. I'm going like 5.1 on the review. It's just not. I wanted this to be really spicy. I want it to actually be like one of those things where like my tongue sort of tingled, like I would eat a bunch of hot tamales, because you get that from a hot tamale. I'm not getting that here, so I'm a little disappointed.
Okay,
I'm sad.
So yours is 5.1 on the hot tamale Peep. I have the sour watermelon. It is green. I'm gonna hold it up.
And it's pink inside.
And it's got pink inside.
I like that.
Yeah. So,
this is a man who eats the rinds of watermelon, just so people know. I've seen you do it.
Yeah. Watermelon's one of my favorite, and I do eat the rinds, and I do bury the bodies in my backyard. So watermelon's one of my favorite things, and I do love sour candies like Sour Patch Kids and the sour watermelon candies.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I love those.
Those are great.
I do. I love all sour things.
All right, so
Sour Girl by Stone Temple Pilots is a great song, too, speaking of sour things.
a good watermelon taste.
Oh, nice.
It's a really good watermelon flavor. It's not sour.
That's disappointing.
Almost at all.
So it seems like we have the same problem.
And I do love... Well...
We get that one end of it.
The watermelon flavor is great.
Like, I get the cinnamon. I just don't get that spicy heat cinnamon.
Yeah, but that's the problem.
Yeah.
Cinnamon is not... Nobody wants cinnamon.
Well...
Watermelon, on the other hand.
I mean, time and again, cinnamon. It is not the lesser babka.
I think not having the sour, it not being very sour definitely ruins. I don't want to say it ruins it, but it's definitely going to knock some points off. But it is very watermelony.
That's awesome.
And like I said,
I'm so mad I can't find them.
Flavors. So I'm going to give it a 6.5. I think if it was actually sour, it would have bumped it up for me. But I do love, the watermelon. It smells watermelony, and it tastes watermelony, and I like those things a lot.
If they didn't have the word sour in it and it was just watermelon,
Yeah, if it was just watermelon, it'd be perfect.
Yeah. It was like if it didn't say fierce cinnamon. I think if they would have just called these like,
Right. Let's try to set the expectations here. Cadbury,
come on.
Whoever makes these things.
Peeps brand. It says Peeps brand, so it's probably Cadbury.
Peeps brand.
It is.
What the hell is that?
It is. I don't know. It says Peeps brand all over this thing. I can't find. You can't just be one company that just makes one product that people eat once a year.
Well, they make them in they make them other holidays.
It's out of Bethlehem. Just Born is the company out of Bethlehem, Pennsylvania.
Oh, no way.
Yep.
How about that? Yeah, I mean, they have like winter peeps.
They do have winter peeps, yeah. I've had
And I
the
think
winter
they
peeps are
have
like
Halloween ones.
Yeah,
I think they even do like red, white, and blue ones.
it wouldn't shock me. The peeps are probably year round.
Yeah.
Everything's year round now. You can't not do year round.
I'm gonna eat this whole tray.
I would if these were hot. I was like actually hoping that they were going to be hot, so I would just like eat the entire thing in like a sitting. But
These might be a 7. I'm gonna bump it up to a 7.
all right, I like that.
The watermelon's so good.
Damn, I don't know where else I can look. I looked at all the hot spots that you would find things. I saw them all over the place last year. Maybe they didn't sell well here.
I knew when you sent me the picture, you were gonna get the hot tamale, but I kind of wanted you to get the fruit punch.
Janie said she had the fruit punch before, and she didn't really like it. So I was like, There's also a chocolate like pudding one. So I might,
I like chocolate.
after the post Easter sale, I might hit up more the half off candy.
Food review. Lady Gaga Oreo, our highest traffic.
Yeah.
We'll see how the Peep show.
I mean, if you just hashtag it Peep Show, that's gonna bring in some people.
Probably not the kind of people we
Well,
want. This has been a
it's all about content.
and Breton and Greg food review at the movies at home.
2 bites, screw the rules.
2 bites, screw the rules. That's our catchphrase. That's our new thing. I love it. 2 bites, screw the rules. And or as many bites as you want. You take as many bites as you want.
But screw rules.
Definitely. We're all about the anti-establishment.
So wait on to our quick hitters, the ever popular segment.
Yeah.
Kong won our
Always
Instagram poll on who would win. Kong versus Godzilla.
8 votes to 2.
8 votes. Hey, there we go.
No, 6 votes to 6 votes to 2.
All right, so there we go. I think that's where we're siding too. I think we think Kong's gonna win. It's America, so there you go.
Yeah. I'm gonna watch this tomorrow night when it drops.
If I get off early enough from work tomorrow, I probably will too, because I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it tomorrow night. Let's see here. The Star Wars Disney Plus Kenobi series started filming. The cast was revealed. No one really of great note so far as I could see. But one surprising omission, because there was a lot of buzz that Ahmed Best would return as Jar Jar Binks, but he was not amongst the named cast there. I think if Hayden Christensen gets to come back,
that would be cool.
They should bring back Jar Jar.
Yeah, I think so too. Why not? Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
So this is...
Give him another chance. Let him back into your heart.
Yeah, I mean, he is what he is, and he owns it. He's owned a lot of different things with this. That's the thing that's been cool about him since all this.
Yeah, the difference between him and Jake Lloyd was like doing Phantom Menace like ruined Jake Lloyd's life.
Right.
He never acted again. And Ahmad Best has actually done like some theater stuff, and I think he's like a professor of acting now. I follow him on something.
That's cool.
I don't remember his Twitter or Instagram. But he's into, and that's the thing is like he seems like he's done like a lot of voice stuff too for like different Star Wars animated things.
Oh, okay. Well, that's cool, and all part of the fan.
Yeah, definitely.
Keeping Disney in our hearts. Disneyland Park getting an update and expansion. Feels like this was a long time coming, really.
Have you been?
I've been to Disneyland. Yeah, one time so far since I moved out
So
here.
correct me if I'm wrong. Where it's located is just surrounded by shit.
Right? It's Anaheim.
It's like Disneyland.
It's a bunch of hotels.
Right.
Yeah. It's the freeway. It's literally 2 minutes off the freeway. So it's.
But like up and down the drive, it's just like hotels and restaurants.
Yeah, it's
right?
nothing but hotels and restaurants. Yeah.
See, that's what actually kind of caught my eye about this. I actually originally had this in the 6-pack, and then I kind of pulled it out, but because Disneyland, Walt Disney made a mistake of saying, "Here's Disneyland, we're going to build it here," and so everybody just bought up the real estate around it, and that's why it's actually so hard to expand Disneyland in California to include like any other meaningful additions. It sounds like they're taking a huge chunk out of the parking for this.
Yeah.
Disney World, he bought 40 square miles and didn't tell anybody what he was going to use it on. So they have a lot of room to operate down there. That's why you see things pop up down there all the time. They expand those parks every year. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But I thought that this was interesting that they said it's not going to be a third park. that there's still going to be Disneyland and then California Adventure. So it's not going to be like a third park all of its own, but it's going to be a pretty girthy expansion to the existing property out there with some new cool attractions and things like that. So R.I.P. Jessica Walter. She played Lucille Bluth and then was also the voice of Mallory Archer in the animated series Archer. She passed away on March 25th here. Lucille Bluth and Mallory Archer are essentially the same character,
Yes.
if you're familiar with these two shows, Arrested Development and Archer. But, man, she nails those characters
It's perfect.
like to a T.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking for just like an alcoholic mother, this is it. She nails it.
Yeah.
She's so funny.
Yeah, she sure does. Yeah, she's very funny in those shows. Arrested Development is, like, the first 3 seasons, not the Netflix seasons, those suck, but the first 3 seasons are some of the best comedy TV.
Oh, yeah.
Like, ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
Mm-hmm.
It was just so ahead of its time in many ways.
Yeah, if it came out the same time as Office and Parks and Rec, it would have been right there with those.
It'd have been huge, yeah. But it actually came out quite a bit.
I think it was like 2000 it came out.
Yeah, it was during the Bush presidencies. I know that.
Okay, so maybe
I think maybe like 2004, 2003. But it was on Fox too, and that was the other thing was it was on Fox, and they made a lot of liberal political jokes and a lot of anti-Bush jokes, and I think that's part of the reason it got canceled.
I mean,
people don't really tune into any Fox networks for liberal programming.
No, I mean you have The Simpsons and stuff like that.
Yeah, sure.
So it's sort of funny how like their shows kind of, but yeah, that it might went like too far on that extreme.
Yeah.
Snyder Cut, which is Ride the Snyder, Snyder Cut available on HBO Max in black and white. So I'm probably not.
I actually have
not going to watch another 4 hours, but that's cool.
I have a write-in.
Ooh.
I have a listener inquiry about this, or a listener. He said, I thought I was a huge DC fan, but I'm not big enough fan to watch the same 4-hour movie in black and white just for the hell of it. I said, maybe someday.
Maybe someday.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just one of those. It's just like it's a whatever. It's just Snyder. It's just the Snyder.
It's just more of that.
Snyder on it. Yeah, it's just, that's how Zach rolls. Like I said, he needs his own Instagram filter.
He really does. Yeah.
Or Snapchat or whatever. Just put a little Snyder on it. Okay, so rarely, I mean, I know we did the baseball thing. Rarely does anything but major sports stuff show up. But I couldn't help throwing this in here when I saw the statistic. The Oklahoma City Thunder possess 34 picks over the next 7 drafts, 17 first rounds,
so insane.
17 second rounds. There's only 2 rounds in the NBA draft. This isn't like football where there's 7 rounds or baseball where there's like 700 rounds. There's only 2 rounds. And so for the next 7 drafts, they have 17.
I mean, they have to be good by the end of this.
Per
Or you're just
round.
like, everyone's getting fired.
Yeah, I just don't see from a basketball value, like I don't see the value of second round picks. They rarely become
I
anything.
guess, I don't know what you do with those. You just hope something happens, I guess.
Sam Presti's hoarding them like they're Roberto Clemente rookie cards. I just don't. I mean, he's like the embodiment of that Dave Chappelle crackhead
Yes.
meme. It's like, hey man, you got any more draft picks? You know what I mean? Like, it's just,
Give me all your draft picks.
and it's wild.
Yeah.
I mean, but hey, he built a team that they couldn't keep together.
Yeah.
Because the owners are penny pinchers.
Shocking.
Anyway, media recommendations.
So I did it. I got the Ratchet and Clank for free, and I started playing it, and it's fun. And it's like I'm really early on. I literally just started today, really playing it.
Yeah.
But it is like it brought me back. I still got to get used to like moving the camera and stuff around. That is not what I'm like used to. But with games, because I'm old, like I'm an older. I like the older generation games. But it's fun. I mean, it looks cool. I like the storyline so far, so I'm glad that I got it. And it's a nice little thing I can just put aside and play like bits and here and there. So I like it. And then we watched I'm not gonna go like too deep. It was a busy week. It wasn't really that long of a week work wise, but it's been busy. So we watched a movie, Captain Fantastic. Viggo Mortensen is the star of it, and it's kind of like this beatnik family that they homeschool, and it's a really good storyline. The director of the movie, writer of the movie, it's kind of like a semi-autobiographical thing. It's funny, it's heartwarming. It's got Frank Langella in it, so that's cool too. I like Frank Langella. Yeah, so I would definitely recommend that. I think it's on Netflix, if I remember correctly. So really good movie. It cruises by pretty quickly, and Vigo's really good, and all the kids that are in it are really good too. So I would recommend that. Came out in 2016. He was nominated for Best Actor for it.
Oh wow, yeah, I thought he kind of disappeared for a while. So I'm still playing Bravely Default 2 on my Switch. I just a little bit here, a little bit there. I started watching, they released the first 3 episodes of Invincible on Prime. Invincible, it's an animated series. It's based on the comic book series of the same name. People will know that it is the first work of Walking Dead creator Robert Kirkman. And in my opinion, as far as it being a comic book goes, Invincible is superior to The Walking Dead in every way. The show is, it's kind of like it's a little bit satirical. And in the comics as well, because like you have this team, they're basically the Justice League. They're all kind of rip-off characters. Like there's like a Flash character, a Batman type character, a Superman type character, whatever. And Invincible is the son of Omni-Man, who is kind of a Superman ripoff because he's from another planet and he pledges to be Earth's protector. And like the thing about Invincible is like he does have super strength, super speed, all that stuff. But like his main power is he's just really good at getting his ass kicked. And so that's kind of funny. Like he finds himself along the way through the series. I have the first, there's 12 of the big hardback Ultimate Collection books. I have the first 8. I need to finish that collection. It's really good. The comic's really, really good. It does some funny things, some different funny things with some of the like classic superhero tropes. Kind of reminds me of the boys in some ways.
Okay. Cool.
But the show so far kind of hits on all the notes of the first. I would say so far the first Ultimate Collection. I'm not sure how many episodes they're planning on doing it, like in the first season or whatever. But there's a lot of like big name voice actors in this. Omni-Man's played by J.K. Simmons. Invincible, his son, is played by Steven Yeun from The Walking Dead. Mark Hamill's in it. Sandra Oh, Walton Goggins, John Hamm shows up in an episode.
Nice.
Some other pretty big name people. So I definitely recommend that if you're into comic books. And like I said, it is an animated thing, so don't think that you're going to show up and see like a the Walking Dead version of this comic book. And then when I saw you put Ratchet and Clank on here, I actually started playing it as well.
Nice.
Insomniac just put out a PS5 update with 60 frames per second and 4K resolution. So I just started playing it like in the half hour before we started recording. So I'm playing it, but I'm playing it on hard, just because I've platinumed it on the regular difficulty. So I just want to give myself a little bit of an extra challenge. And like I'm kind of being reminded, like I don't really like the Clank sections; they're kind of lame. But like the Ratchet sections, like especially as the game goes along and he gets like crazy weapons, are really fun, really fun. But yeah, They did this to hype people up for Rift Apart that comes out in June, and then they're giving Horizon away to get people hyped for Forbidden West that comes out later this year as well. So these are all calculated moves by Sony. But Ratchet and Clank's a great game. I think by the time this goes live, it's not going to be free anymore. So if you have a PlayStation and you didn't claim Ratchet and Clank, then you're a fucking idiot.
We warned you.
Yeah, I talked about it at least twice, probably 3 times. So yeah, I mean that's kind of where I'm at. The BXG podcast publishes every Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 4 a.m. Pacific Time, 2 a.m. Hawaii.
Aloha.
On podcast services around the globe: Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, Pandora, Stitcher, Anchor, whatever. If it's on a podcast, we're on it. BXG social media at BXG podcast at Instagram on the Instagram. That's where all the social media stuff is taking place. So if you see those questions, it takes all of 1 second to click one of the answers. So just keep that in mind. At BXG Podcast on the Instagram and the Twitter, at GTFills, at Y2B, Facebook.com/BXG Podcast, YouTube.com/BXG Podcast, where you will be able to see the Peep Show review this week. That's going to be our video segment for this week.
2 bites, screw the rules.
2 bites, screw the rules. And we're pretty excited next week, next weekend from when this comes out. So the following weekend, so April 10th, is WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And we've invited on a friend of mine, a guy I used to work with, he has a wrestling podcast. So he's going to be coming on doing a little wrestling segment with us. He's going to do some preview for WrestleMania. We'll probably talk about some old wrestlers and things like that. It's going to be fun. So we'll get that in there, and we're excited about that.
I'm excited. WrestleMania.
Otherwise, yeah, I mean, it's one of those. It's pop culture. Yep. You know what I mean? It's like the Super Bowl. It's like nobody watches wrestling all year, and people tune into WrestleMania. It's the biggest pay-per-view every year. So, or what have you. But I'm excited for that, and just to do more guests and have more people on, stuff like that. So that'll be fun. Sure. But here's the other thing: is I just shout out. I'm going to assume that we're going to hit this milestone tomorrow, but it would appear as though March has been our most successful month in terms of total new subscribers and downloads. If I wanted to factor in like the YouTube views and stuff like that, we're already way over.
It's crazy.
But I'm not going to do that. But we only need a few to surpass our highest month. So month over month, we did really well in February, and we're doing even better in March. So shout out. It sounds like maybe people are sharing and telling their friends and
telling their mothers
about the unmistakable GXB podcast.
The GXB.
Yeah. The unmistakable essence of the I'm very tired.
It's okay.
The unmistakable essence of the BXG podcast. Rate, review, share. Rate us 5 stars on Apple to find more. Help us find new audiences.
Yes.
And all that fun stuff. Take care, friends.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Guten Tag.